Hello and welcome to a brand new MiTunes podcast here at manxradio.com.
Marc, Tyley, the nation's station, Manx Radio.
Just for a change, as it's the start of a brand new year, I will play a piece of music to start MiTunes, the first MiTunes of the year. There is very good reason for playing that on MiTunes this week, because my guest is Lauren Berry, and Lauren, that used to be part of your working life, didn't it?
It did for so many years, and I felt like I was about to point out the exits as soon as I could hear the music.
Well, because Lauren, for a few years, was on board with British Airways, looking after us in various cabins on long haul, short haul, all sorts of routes, and that was very much part of, well, still is part of British Airways, isn't it?
It still is, yeah. I mean, I only left earlier on this year, and we were still using the same boarding music. I think they changed it a little bit over Christmas time, but they've had that. It's been a staple. Lots of people who would be getting on, the passengers would say, oh, as soon as I hear the boarding music, I know I'm going home, or I know I'm going on holiday.
And that's very important. So, Lauren, British Airways, now Manx Radio. We'll come on to Manx Radio in a moment. But how did you get into British Airways?
So, oddly enough, when I was doing my bachelor's degree, I had this amazing friend, Grace, and I said to her, I'm going to do my master's next year. And she said, okay, I know this sounds random, but I'm going to become crew for British Airways. And I was like, that sounds like so much fun. And I remember a few months into doing my master's degree, she came to visit me at university, and she showed me pictures of all the places that she had been and photos of her in her uniform looking amazing, and showed me her roster and where she was going to be going the next month. And just listening to her life, I thought, that's what I need in my life, because I'd really not travelled. I'd only been on a plane twice before I'd started, and I'd never flown long haul. My family, we just had never been away together. So I thought, this sounds like an amazing opportunity. So I remember sitting in Josh's university house, and we were at the computer, and I thought, I'm just going to submit my application. You know, the worst thing they can do is say no. And I got invited for the open day, the assessment day, which was so difficult, really hard work, but it's worth it. And before I knew it, I got in the first time, the first round, because there are a few people there who, you know, it was their 6th or 7th time trying to get in. It was a really hard selection process, but I felt like I had just won the lottery when I got in, and it was such an amazing thing. I'm so glad that I did it.
And what a massive company to be a part of, and what heritage as well. I mean,
yeah.
British Airways, it has such a cachet still, doesn't it?
Quintessentially British was the thing that they always said in training, and you want people to feel like they're getting a nice British friendly service with a good cup of tea on board.
Beautiful. We're going to talk a lot more about that. You mentioned in passing university, and Josh,
yes,
your beloved.
My beloved,
Your
yes.
beloved. Did you meet at uni?
We did, yes. So we had known each other for a few years before we were together. So we did the same journalism degree. We did the same bachelor's degree, and he's the year below me. So I'd known him for a few years, and then it wasn't until I did my master's degree and he was in his final year of his bachelor's that we decided that we liked each other. So we'd known each other for a few years before, but I think he's very talented, and I think that's also what made me very interested.
Now, just tell us who this lovely Josh is, in case anyone's wondering.
Josh is the ITV reporter for the Isle of Man, so
ITV
you might have seen him
reporter.
on your telly at
There
some
you
point.
go. Mr. ITV for the Isle of Man. I think we should have a bit of your music. We've had a bit of my music. Well, shared music. But let's have your first choice.
So my first choice is Dream Catch Me by Newton Faulkner. And the reason why I chose this song is because it's the first ever concert that I went to was Newton Faulkner. And I'm ashamed to admit, I didn't know who he was before I turned up to the concert. I had just made this friend when I was 11 years old at secondary school. She said, hey, I've got a spare ticket to a concert in Brighton tonight. Do you want to come? And I thought, yeah, why not? And we went. And after that, I thought, gosh, this man is so talented. And I've listened to his music ever since.
And the track we're going to have
is Dream Catch Me.
Every time I know now who I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know now there's a place I go when I'm alone. Do anything I want, be anyone I wanna be, but it is a sight see, and I cannot believe I'm falling. That's where I'm going. Where are you going? Hold it close, won't let this go. Dream catch me, yeah. Dream catch me when I fall, or else I won't come back at all. You do so much, but you don't know. It's true, and I know now who I am. Yeah, yeah. And I know now there's a place I go when I'm alone. Do anything I want, be anyone I wanna be, but it is us I see, and I cannot believe I'm falling. That's where I'm going. Where are you going? Hold it close, won't let this go. Dream catch me, yeah. Dream catch me when I fall, or else I won't come back at all. See you as a mountain, a fountain of God. See you as a death can't soul in the setting sun. You as a sound, just a silent as none of yours. There's a place I go when I'm alone. Do anything I want, be anyone I wanna be, but it is us I see, and I cannot believe I'm falling. There's a place I go when I'm alone. Do anything I want, be anyone I wanna be, but it is us I see, and I cannot believe I'm falling. That's where I'm going. Where are you going? Hold it close, won't let this go. Dream catch me, yeah. Dream catch me when I fall, or else I won't come back at all.
MiTunes Day 2, first MiTunes for the new year. I know, and I played the first piece of music on it. Lucky me. Well, it was the British Airways tune. It was used, by the way, Lauren Berry is my guest all week. Lauren, it was used in adverts before it became the cabin music, I think, because it was promoting British Airways for years and years and years. Amazing award-winning TV commercials. We'll come back to British Airways, certainly today and maybe tomorrow as well. But what drew you to Manx Radio? And tell us what you're doing.
So my role is a sponsorships and promotions executive here, and we say it's quite like a unicorn role because I do lots of it's a really varied workload, which makes it a lot of fun and makes the days go super quick. I take care of our marketing, of our events that we do, the competitions that we run, all the fun stuff. I always say it feels like such a dream that I get to do this, because I remember at university I thought to myself, this is kind of if I could pick my dream role, this would kind of be it, you know, because I get to do lots of all the bits that I enjoy, and I get to be creative, and it's so much fun. And it seems like pure luck that I got the role, purely because when I moved over to the island, I left BA and I moved over here with no job, because that just seemed like the easiest way to do it. And to be honest, I just needed a bit of a break to get over the jet lag, and I thought, do you know what, the right job is going to come up at the right time. And I was applying for a few things, but nothing really felt right. And then all of a sudden this job came up and Josh was like, I think you could do this. And I thought, I don't know, it sounds like, a big role and I'm fresh out of BA and, and he was like, just go for it. The worst they can do is say no. And I did my research. I spent hours and hours preparing my presentation for the interview, which I actually enjoyed doing because I got to be creative in that as well. And I came into Manx Radio and I met everyone and I thought, everyone's so nice. I really hope they let me work here. I hope they hire me. And they did. And it just seems perfect timing, really, that it came up the time that I was moving over and that it was the right job that I wanted. And I'd known about Manx Radio before I moved over here because I'd come to visit every month to come visit Josh in between flying. And I'd always heard about Manx Radio and I listened to it. And obviously when I came to visit the TT, I'd seen the massive presence there. And so I'd already known about the station before. But I sort of learnt the intricate parts, I suppose, when I was preparing for the interview.
Yeah. Well researched, and you got the job, and we are delighted to have you with us.
Thank you.
Now, I know this isn't live on telly or anything, but you have to appreciate that Lauren's smile is lighting up this studio just as a first-class cabin on a transatlantic flight. Your smile is honestly, it really does light up a room.
You're so sweet.
But it
You're making me
does.
blush now.
No, it's
See?
true. And it's obviously, when you walked in, going back to that assessment day, that first time you walked in with the British Airways people, they must have looked at you and thought, yep, customers are going to love her. She'll calm them down, she'll be firm, but she'll smile and they'll do what she tells them.
Do you know what? It's so funny because I remember I had a few passengers who would say to me, you're so smiley all the time. And I think it's because I got so used to just, if I have a positive face on, it seems like everything's under control all of the time. And also I think just naturally, if you smile more, you do just feel happier. So it's much nicer to just go through life smiling a lot, and it will tell your brain that you're happy and that everything's okay.
That
And it
is
seems to work.
wonderful, wonderful philosophy. Let's have... I know, by the way, that Lauren loves a bit of country music because she comes into the morning show studio every now and then when I'm playing something and she says, I like this. So I thought we'd have some country. Who have we got?
So we've got Luke Combs, and the song choice is When It Rains It Pours. And the reason why I chose this one is because I think it's so catchy. And one of my best friends, Sarah, introduced me to it. She's a fellow country music lover. She's a cabin manager at BA. And I remember we had a trip to St. Lucia and we were singing country music the entire time because we were working together in the business class cabin. And this song, just whenever I hear it, it just makes me think of her, makes me happy.
Sunday morning, man, she woke up fighting mad. On and on about the time I had. And by Tuesday, you could say that girl was good as gone. And then when Thursday came around, I was all alone. So I went for a drive to clear my mind. Ended up at a Shell on I-65. Then I won $100 on a scratch-off ticket, bought 2 12-packs and a tank of gas with it. She swore they were a waste of time, all, but she was wrong. I was calling number 5 on the radio station, won a 4-day, 3-night beach vacation, deep sea senorita fishing down in Panama. Gotta see my ex-future mother-in-law anymore. Oh Lord, when it rains, it pours. Now she was sure real quick to up and apologize when she heard about my newfound luck on that FM dial. And it's crazy how lately now it just seems to come in waves. What I thought was gonna be the death of me was my saving grace. It's got me thinking that her leaving is the only logical reason that I got the last spot in the Hooters parking lot, and the waitress left her number on my check with a heart. She picked up on the first ring when I gave her a call. scratch off ticket. Bought 2 12-packs and a tank of gas with it. She swore they were a waste of time, all, but she was wrong. And I was calling number 5 on the radio station, on a 4-day, 3-night beach vacation. Deep sea senorita fishing down in Panama. And I ain't gotta see my ex-future mother-in-law anymore. Oh Lord, when it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours.
My guest on MiTunes, first of the new year, is Lauren Berry, who has an amazing job at Manx Radio making people happy, which she finds easy because she smiles a lot. And she makes us all happy and makes it all work, which is a wonderful thing to do in life. But before she came here, not that long ago, she was whizzing around the skies with British Airways. And I want to go back to that today, Lauren. I want to talk about troublesome customers or interesting customers, because you must have a load of experiences in your sort of memory bank now, thinking, goodness me, did I really have to do that? Or was that person so difficult? Could you share some of those challenging moments with us?
Do you know what? It's so funny because sometimes I would come home from flights and I would tell stories like this to my family and friends, and they would say, I can't believe that. You have to write a book about that someday. I think one of my funniest ones is when I had a customer press the call bell and I went over, and she was in a more premium cabin, and she said, I've got a complaint I need to talk to the manager about. And I said, well, can I help you first? Let's see what the problem is, see if I can help you. And she said, I paid for a window seat and I've got a window, but it's being blocked by the wing. She was like, so I can't see the ground and I'm really disappointed and I'd like my money back.
She couldn't see the ground.
Yeah. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. You paid for a window seat and technically you did get the window. And she was just so upset. She was like, that ginormous wing is just taking up so much of the room. And I thought, well, this 777 aircraft isn't going to get very far without that ginormous wing. So it does have to stay there, unfortunately. But it was one of those things that when she said it, I thought, is she making a joke at first? And then I thought, no, she's not joking. Okay, I'm going to take this seriously.
But you know what? I know what she's saying.
Yeah.
It does seem a bit daft, but if you're looking out the window and all you see is grey wing, and if you really wanted to see the ground to feel comfortable, maybe it was a fear thing.
Probably,
She'd like to see the ground or the sea. Oh, it's going to be clouds anyway, most of the time.
Yeah.
Alcohol on aeroplanes.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, is it just because you're high up that alcohol does funny things to you, or just that some people just drink far too much on aeroplanes?
I think it's a multitude of many things. So first of all, your blood is thinner, so you get drunk a lot quicker, and a lot of people don't realise that. And when I tell them, they go, that's not true. And I say, well, you've only had 1 vodka and you're already slurring your words. I was like, whereas on the ground, you probably could handle 5 and you'd be fine. But I think it's also a case of a lot of people, because in the later stages, I only flew long haul, and the majority of flights took off early in the morning, and a lot of people had probably had not very much sleep. They were really excited and they'd not eaten anything, because sometimes, if you're nervous before a flight, you don't want to eat anything. And so they would get on board and they'd have a drink at 8:30 in the morning, and by sort of 11 a.m, an hour and a half into the flight, they would be steaming, because that's just what happens. And I don't judge them, because I think to myself, do you know what, they've probably saved up for a really long time to go on this holiday. It's it's only when they start throwing fists that I start to have a problem with it.
Has that happened?
Oh yeah, it happens quite often.
What,
actually.
really getting people getting really agitated?
Yeah. I mean, part of the training is that you learn how to restrain a passenger if you have to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, say for example, if you're over the Atlantic Ocean, you can't just divert, because it's just the Atlantic Ocean beneath you. So you have to learn how to restrain them until you can get somewhere safely and the police can come aboard the aircraft. But I've had quite a few times where, someone's just been awful and we've had to just get the police to meet us just for everyone's safety, really.
And take them off.
Yeah, and I think, as they're walking off, they get a bit embarrassed, and I think, oh, do you know what? I don't think they'll do it again.
No, one would hope not. Here's another thing. Now, I either read this or dreamt it. Your taste buds change at altitude, and that's why airplane food has to be tastier than if it was being served at ground level. Is that true?
That is true, yeah.
Ah,
So when it
okay.
comes-
I didn't dream it then.
No, absolutely not. So when they're creating the food and when they're testing the new menu, they have to add in extra bits, say like extra oil, extra flavors, extra sugar, because otherwise when you're in the air you won't be able to taste it. It's the same sense of lots of people wouldn't drink a Bloody Mary on the ground, but in the air they'll drink it because in the air their taste buds prefer it a bit more.
With the Worcester sauce.
Yeah.
Because you can taste it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had anybody on the wrong plane?
Luckily no.
No,
because we did have to check on long haul. We did have to check their boarding passes before they got on, so they got like triple checked before they got on, just to make sure, because that's a long way to go if you're going the wrong way.
Because I've watched Home Alone a few times over the festive season, and I'm just thinking, poor old Kevin getting on the wrong plane.
Gosh, yeah, it's
Bless
like everyone's worst nightmare.
Let's have a fabulous song. What's our third song?
Our third song is by Mumford & Sons, and the song choice is There Will Be Time. And the reason for this is because the first time I'd ever heard this song was the live version, and it was recorded in South Africa live, which is one of my favourite countries.
Well, I'm going to dig that live version out.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Let's get it. Let's find it.
It is fantastic. And I just think to myself, if I could hear this live at a concert, I think I would cry with happiness.
Hetto mi yalan ma min waɗi mi yiddema ko antan holli mi ko jiɗinmi odunaduna waɗi mi yiddema. In the cold light I live to love and adore you. It's all that I am. It's all that I have. In the cold light I live. I only live for you. It's all that I am. It's all that I have. Kwan holy me. Chario, you got pen you can die. Hasida kal mojad. What me eat them? What me eat them? What me eat them? Quarter no give me. But nani wa. Oh, Johnny, what you? But Johnny, what you? So open up my eyes to a new life. I wandered round your darkened land all night, but I lift up my eyes to a new height. And indeed there would be time, but in the cold light I live to love and adore you. It's all that I am. It's all that I have, and in the cold light I live. I'll only live for you. It's all that I am. It's all that I have. To love and adore you, it's all that I am.
We've been all over the world with our guest this week to welcome in the new year, Lauren Berry, who was wonderful on board British Airways long-haul aeroplanes, giving people far too many Bloody Marys. Oh, no, not too many, just enough to keep them quiet. But now she's an integral part of Manx Radio. You told us earlier on in the week what the job is, but what is your personal sort of checklist? And what would you like to do to us all here at Manx Radio? What have you got up your sleeve?
I think I want everyone to know all the great stuff that we do here. And it's not until I sort of started working here and working at all the events we do and all the partnerships with, other businesses or whatever. And I realised, gosh, there's so many great things that we do. And I think it would be really great to shout about them a little bit because, people here work really hard and they create amazing content. And, we really put a lot of effort into some things that we do in the community. And I just think it's really good to share that with people. And it's stuff that I enjoy. I enjoy doing the marketing parts, the social media, and just helping presenters create fun things for their shows because that's fun as well.
Now, the thing is, with a radio station, I go on the radio, everyone goes on the radio, and you're literally preaching to the converted, because if you're listening to Manx Radio, that's fine.
Yeah.
What we have to do, I guess, is look at how to get to people who aren't currently listening to what we're talking about now. They're not listening to this show. How do we get hold of them?
I suppose the best way to do it is to look at when we're trying to attract new listeners, we need to think about what they're going to be interested in because there's parts of Manx Radio that will appeal to everyone. I think it's just a lot of people don't know about them, which is why it's really important to try and highlight the variety of shows and content that we have here because we do have something for everyone, and it's just trying to get that out to everyone so that they'll think, oh, actually, I didn't know that you had a show about that. That's something that I'm really interested in, or I like that music genre, or, I don't have any plans on a Friday night and I'd actually really like to sit in and just listen to some good music by myself, So, it's just about showing everyone what we've got to offer.
Do you think the podcasts help? Because you can dip in and out of podcasts anytime you choose.
Yeah, exactly. When you're walking the dog, when you're going to the gym. I love listening to them on planes because often if I listen to music, I'll fall asleep. Whereas a podcast, it keeps you awake, keeps you interested. And also I think that it makes the flight go way quicker.
When you go to manxradio.com and you spool through the podcast, talk about a range. I mean, some of them now are not part of the output. They are specifically designed to be listened to as podcasts. I think that's really important as well. So it's like an adventure.
Absolutely.
Go in that barrel of fun and see if you can find something that you like.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think it's good to have a big variety of things as well and a variety of different lengths of podcasts. And it's just good because, like you said, you don't have to tune in at a certain time on a certain day every week. You can listen to it as and when. You can listen to it at 2 o'clock in the morning or, 5 o'clock when you're making dinner. It's completely up to you. Although 5 p.m. for dinner, I know that's early for a lot of people, I've discovered. I'm an early dinner eater.
Well, if you start early, you need to eat early. And it's always better to eat a bit earlier before you go not too late before you go to bed.
Exactly. That's what I was always
better
taught.
For your digestion. Your journalism, it was a journalism course, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So I did a bachelor's in journalism and then my master's was in journalism and communications.
So really, you're drawing on that master's for this job.
Yeah,
journalism
absolutely.
And communications.
Yeah, I think I was quite lucky with my bachelor's degree. It was multimedia journalism. So it wasn't just about print journalism. A lot of it was digital. So we learned how to do videography and photography, photo editing, things like that, which have been really, really beneficial in helping me in this role as well. And the master's was better at sort of honing in the theory behind communications and the psychology behind people and how to make stuff that's going to appeal to a lot of people, basically.
Well, we are blessed to have you on board the good ship, the airship Manx Radio, cruising at 420 feet above sea level or thereabouts. We have now, I'm looking at this list. I wasn't expecting this. Talk us into this last tune.
Okay, so one thing that a lot of people don't know about me, unless you went to secondary school with me, is that I used to be what would be considered a hardcore belieber. And I was obsessed with Justin Bieber for so many years. I'd first found him on YouTube before Baby came out, or is it One Time? I can't remember which one was his big break, but I'd watched him on YouTube for a really long time before he got discovered by Scooter Braun. And I remember just thinking, gosh, I am so obsessed with this boy. And I must have been, 11 years old or something. First celebrity crush.
He was only 9, of course.
He was so young at the time. And I think to myself, how can you have that much talent at that young age? And then all of a sudden, everyone knew who he was. And I was like, well, I've known him for years.
He was mine.
He was mine.
Yeah.
I listened to him for years. And I think that as he's got older, his voice has just only got better. And when I listen to his new music, it appeals to me just as much as his old music did when I was younger. So I just think he's a very talented guy.
Well, he's been in the business a long time, and he has developed, as you say, as a fully rounded artist. What track are we going to finish up with?
I've chosen Anyone, which is a newer one of his, but I just think it's so beautiful.
Lauren, thank you for the week, and thank you for being part of Manx Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Dance with me under the diamonds. See me like breath in the cold. Sleep with me here in the silence. Come kiss me silver and gold. You say that I won't lose you, but you can't predict the future. So just hold on like you will never let go. Yeah, if you ever move on without me, I need to make sure you know that you are the only one I'll ever love. Yeah, you, if it's not you, it's not anyone. Looking back on my life, you're the only good I've ever done. Yeah, you, if it's not you, it's not anyone. Not anyone. Forever's not enough time to love you the way that I want. 'Cause every morning I find you, I fear the day that I don't. You say that I won't lose you, but you can't predict the future. 'Cause certain things are out of our control. Yeah, if you ever move on without me, I need to make sure you know that you are the only one I'll ever love. Only one. Yeah, you, if it's not you, it's not anyone. Gotta tell ya, looking back on my life, you're the only good I've ever done. Yeah, you, if it's not you, it's not anyone. It's not anyone. Not anyone. If it's not you, it's not anyone. Oh yeah. Yeah, you are the only one I'll ever love. Yeah, you, if it's not you, it's not anyone. Gotta tell ya, looking back on my life, you're the only good I've ever done. Yeah, you, if it's not you, it's not anyone.
Justin Bieber, the final choice of my MiTunes guest, Lauren Berry. Fantastic week. Thank you, Lauren, and all the best to you and, a relatively new start at Manx Radio. I'm Marc Tyley. Join me when you can for the morning show, 9:30 to 12, Monday to Friday.